Break it up. You're ruining business for the paying show.
Son of a bitch, Ben me! You want to go to jail?
Randall, why don't you stick to football? Now, where'd you come from?
He's Dr. Stoner's assistant.
Oh, yeah. The Stoner.
Here, Dr. Stoner, daughter.
Crazy. He's not crazy, you goddamn Neanderthal. Neanderthal! I don't like the sound of that!
All right.
Hello, listening people.
Hello.
Hello, Bartek. How are you?
Good, Ryan. Kind of good. How are you?
I'm locked down. That's how I'm feeling and being.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Melbourne's 5th lockdown. Let's go for a number 6.
Let's make it to 10. Let's make it to 10. Let's go to double digits. I
Oh,
need
why
the
not?
free time to watch some movies, so let's do it.
Let's go 11. Let's go one step beyond.
Let's go all the way to 7. Just 7, because that's how many S's are in the title of this. So, Bartek...
Let's go to 290, because I think that's the episode number of this.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you're keeping track.
It might be 291.
No, 2000. So,
Yeah.
Bartek, we are spitting Polish cycling because we are always spitting, and we both happen to be Polish. Do you have any Polish news? Anything happening? Personally or culturally?
I haven't heard a word from Poland in quite a while, actually. No, I don't know. I hope they're not messing up their lockdown stuff.
They haven't phoned you in quite some time, Poland. They haven't knocked on your door and said, Bartek, it's Poland here. We've come over for a party. They've left you in the dark.
And then I said, no, call me Bartłomiej.
Yeah,
You
well,
don't know me.
they're being polite. So
By using my nickname?
yeah, well, they're casual. They don't want to be too formal because, they're trying to keep a casual vibe of having a party at your house. I mean, if I walked up
Casual is how I'll describe Poland, sure.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Bartek thinks, well, you haven't heard. Maybe they've changed. Maybe they've changed in the time you've talked to them last. That's possible.
Maybe. I'll have to call President Duda.
So for our 5th lockdown special, we are covering a movie that came recommended by our listening people, and the listening people being my friend from my hometown, Jack.
JD from Kemp C.
JD himself, the Dunkster, the donkey. Yeah,
I've heard a lot about him.
Yeah, and now you see his movie tastes. So we are covering for this episode a film with 2 titles, depending which area you're from. The title could just be a bunch of S's. This is not a joke. The movie is just called Sssss, or it's called Snake.
Yes,
So-
4 S's or 7 S's, your choice.
And the poster for the 7 S's says, "Don't say it, hiss it." So
Yes, especially into a microphone really close up. Because S is one of the 2 letters that it really loves.
it really loves that. And the other
And
letter
F.
being, I was going to say
F.
that. No, not Q. So that's for the ASMR people out there.
That's the Q fans.
That's for the fan of the Q Continuum from Star Trek The Next Generation.
The guy, yeah.
The guy, well, he's a part of many guys and girls and others, so
Look, I've seen footage of him getting punched.
I have too. Bartek, we are here to talk about the 1970, what was it, 5 film? I can't remember what exactly.
I thought it was 3. Hold on, I've got it in another tab. Click.
Click.
73.
This is the benefit of doing it through the internet. Bartek can actually have his notes in front of him and not in his jacket pocket that's across the room. So there's that benefit.
That happened the other week, yeah.
That did happen the other week. Do you remember our continuity?
It was burning last episode.
Yeah. So if people have not seen this film, we're going to talk about spoilers and all, so watch it if you must. If you do not want to, you can listen to us talk about the movie that is about a mad scientist who turns a guy into a snake eventually. Bartek, what's your history with this film?
I think I've already mentioned this episode. I remember Jack Duncan's comment on our thing and having that little journey of like, oh, that's a real title.
Yeah, that's a real movie. You thought it was just like an in-joke.
I did, yeah, because, he's one of your close friends, so you'd understand his cryptic text.
Oh, and I did. My history with this film is that my good friend Jack Duncan, he's the one to blame, he is a fan of schlock, crap movies, and he has always said to me, dude, he has 2 lines. He goes, dude, you haven't seen Teeth? You gotta see Teeth.
I was thinking, wasn't there like a teeth film or something?
And that's one where the woman has teeth in her vagina. And then he said, and the other one you gotta see, dude, is... You gotta see... Just saying that alone is pretty funny. He
Yeah.
said, there's a guy who turns into a snake, but I had forgotten that bit. I just remembered that there were snakes involved.
Spoiler, Jack.
Yeah, spoilers. That's kind of a twist. I don't know. So I'd never seen this movie. You've never seen this movie before. What were you thinking about it before you actually watched it, and how did it live up to that, or didn't live up to that?
So I accurately predicted that it was a horror film. Would have been good for October, but that's all right.
Not a rom-com?
Not a rom-com. No, that surprised me. It was only partly a rom-com.
Not a Bollywood film?
Not a Bollywood. No musical sequences.
Not a masala film where it's every type of genre?
No. So I accurately predicted that. But my big dread was that it was just gonna be like, I guess really, what's the word? Like just constant like snake things happening, monotonous in its, craziness, that kind of thing. So I wasn't really expecting it to be this kind of, slow build up. Things are very normal for a long time until they become not normal. So yeah, that was kind of my journey, realizing that like, oh, my dreads didn't really come to pass. There was a bit more to this film than just like snakes all everywhere.
But there are snakes everywhere.
There are snakes everywhere. But it's done differently from what I was expecting.
I had some expectations of it because it's a 1970s horror film, so I expected it to be slow and plodding. Yes, I also guessed it would be a horror film because of its title and it having snakes in it, and also, just you can kind of gather that. I thought it would be slow and plodding and monotonous as well, because that's what I think of with these 70s films before you get into the slasher era with stuff like Halloween. In the later part of the 70s, I knew that it would be some kind of creature feature, obviously, as well, so I'm also a bit familiar with those, and a lot of those creature feature films are lots of scenes of people talking in rooms or outside until a monster comes in and then they run away or somebody dies. And this film is almost like that, kind of like that. It has some things that we could talk about. And then I watched the film. I didn't really have an idea. I thought it would just be like snakes gone amok. And the film opens up with a little like, I would say like piece of text, but it felt like a piece of a piece of congratulatory text.
The first laugh of the film, yes.
Where they let you know these are real snakes. We didn't cheap out. These aren't fake snakes. We got real fucking snakes. And you know what? It made you laugh, but it impressed me straight off the bat because I was expecting there to just be rubber snakes and puppets. But then I watched the film and it's fucking snakes. These are snakes.
Yeah, I think there was a trivia point that only like one shot had a fake snake in it somewhere.
And that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. But
and didn't that text also like commend the actors and people that worked on? Because like these are real snakes. Good on you guys.
Yeah, these are like the most poisonous snakes in the whole fucking world. Good on you guys for working with them.
That's insane. Yeah. Oh, the word I was thinking of earlier was like exploitation film kind of thing. Snake exploitation. Yeah.
Snake exploitation. Yeah. So then watching the film, I was trying to guess what this was going to be. Like, I was like, oh, this is the type of film. This is how the story's going to go. This. And there came a point where I just gave up trying to do that because it wasn't doing the things that I thought it would obviously do, and instead chose another option, which we can talk about. But how did you feel about the film, Bartek? What was your thoughts on it?
I actually had a pretty good time with it. I had quite a few
motherfucker.
quite a few laughs going on, yeah.
So you saw it from a more comedic angle than what it is actually supposed to be.
There was a point in the film that made me laugh, I think, for like 30 seconds straight, yeah.
Oh, which part?
A naked man was cleaning himself, and then a snake did a thing.
You see, the part that made me laugh the most was when the bully guy, whose name is Steve, I do believe.
Steve Russell, I think.
He has two first names. Yeah. When Steve was at the freak show event, and he was like, "I don't buy hookers. I have real sex."
The carnival striptease, yes.
The carnival striptease. She ain't just she ain't any type of hooker. She's a carnival hooker. So I laughed more so after that. He gets into a fight with he just had a fight with our main guy. The main guy calls him a Neanderthal and he screams, I don't like the sound of that.
Red Brown was great, yeah.
He was the hero of the movie. So you had a good time with this. You had a good chuckle and a good light-hearted affair. You described the movie last night in our Facebook chat as a cute snake movie.
I was very early in the thing, and I just wanted to...
No, that's an accurate description. Cute snake movie. It's a very cute snake movie.
At the point where I was, Harry was the main snake of the film.
Yes, and he was getting drunk.
Yeah.
And then there were more snakes of the film. So I did not enjoy this all that much. I found it cheap, not in production, but in story. I thought it took the coward's way out more often than not. There was a specific moment in which I said, that's fucking lazy and unfair, which is when the rival professor doctor guy has to get the key out of the two containers with snakes in it, and he successfully does, but then a giant python out of nowhere gets him. And I know the python was set up earlier in the movie, but I found it bullshit. I thought, well, you've set up this situation in which the guy who's the equally smart snake expert is going to be foiled by the fact that he's not as smart as our main character, the main scientist guy, or the main scientist guy was a prick and put both of them as the same type of snake that is poisonous, but instead, another snake drops down, and I was like, it was many moments like that where I'm like, oh, they're going to do a clever thing here, and then they chose the lazy thing here instead.
I agree. That was set up to be like a little game of knowledge and flexibility, dexterity. Yeah. And then even though he succeeds, it's death. It wasn't like in Cutting Class where the guy failed the question and got killed. It was he succeeded, but then something else killed him. And even later on, when the main scientist comes back, he seems like a little thrown off, like, oh, that happened. Okay.
And yeah, it's set up in the movie, but it was a very lame payoff, I guess, because I don't know, it just felt like a lazy way. And I got thrown off because it's like, this isn't a satisfying comeuppance for this character. It would have been a more satisfying one for the police that put that snake down there, perhaps. Maybe? Am I out of the ballpark there with that?
I could see if it was the police, then they might anticipate it because they had such a strong reaction to the whole thing.
Yeah, but there's a setup and payoff there. But here, I don't know. But that's leaping to the end. I found myself bored throughout a lot of it. I found myself looking at the film and going, what's the point? What's happening here? I know he's turning the guy slowly into a snake. And I was trying to figure out, okay, this is the movie. No. And I would strike it off the list because an hour's gone by and they haven't done it. So I would strike it off the list and strike it off the list and keep doing it. And then it was, like I keep saying, lazy. Like, the romance in the movie, that was very funny to me. I wrote to you last night. I said, I'm up to a moment in the film that I would describe as embarrassing, and you weren't up to it yet. Do you want to have a guess of what the moment was that I would describe as embarrassing, when the film truly turned embarrassing?
Would it be the skinny dipping scene?
Of course it's the skinny dipping scene.
Yeah.
It comes out of nowhere. It's terrible. There's this music all over it. It's nonsense. And it really does feel like whatever the film was trying to be up until that point, it just went away. Like that skinny dipping scene was like somebody pulled at the loose thread and it all started coming apart because the film just kind of lost track after that point. Now there's like crazy montages of passages of time happening. Now like the bully guy's back in the movie. You forgot that he was even in the movie to begin with after a certain point. Like so on and so forth. And it just like that skinny dipping scene was out of nowhere and it was embarrassing. I felt embarrassed while watching it.
Yeah, if they wanted to have a romance in the film, which they clearly did, they really zoomed the pace of starting it when that scene happened, because it's like, hey, what does this path lead to? Oh, around the lake, and he just goes there, and then like, hey, skinny dipping, and the relationship between the two characters like dramatically shifted rather than doing it in a more natural way.
Yeah, so... or snake, which one do you prefer?
I mean, of course I prefer the 7 S's. But I did read that the original title of the film is the one that has Nake in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So whose side are you on? The film studio that demanded that it be 7 S's, thus it bombed in the theater because no one would see it? Or the filmmakers that wanted to call it Snake? Whose side are you on?
Which one's the underdog? I'll side with the underdog, I guess.
You're with Snake then.
Alright, I'll be with Snake then.
And then if you keep calling it Snake, eventually one of us would go, Snake, Snake, Snake! Like Metal Gear.
Yes.
So, look, Bartek, this is a movie about a guy slowly turning into a snake, and my big disappointment was he didn't do anything. And also, okay, to jump straight to the end of the movie, when he turned into a snake, when he turned into the King Cobra, when that happened, was that your understanding of what was going to happen?
No.
What was your understanding of the entire movie up until that point?
My understanding of the whole experiment, which I guess we didn't get all the information, but it feels like, I don't know. My understanding was that he was supposed to turn into some super new type of snake, not like a really normal looking one that just happened to have blue eyes.
Yeah, right?
So like, and during the transformation, you had all these in-betweens where like they clearly went to a lot of effort to, you know, create what all the many different in-betweens look like of the transformation from human to snake. And for multiple of them, I thought like, oh, there it is. That's the goal. And then it just kept going until he became a normal snake.
What a dumb experiment. It's like if I worked for, like, you know what? I agree with that doctor guy from the college. That's like, also, call me doctor. You never do. We're not friends, so let's keep that formality in line at least. But I agreed with him. It's like, this is stupid because I thought, dumb old me, I thought he wanted to, like, give us the abilities of snakes because he thinks snakes are like these divine creatures or whatever the fuck he thinks they are. And I thought, oh yeah, he's just going to make us into snake people, not just make us into snakes. That was just the dumbest thing. Like, when it happened, he just turned into a normal snake. I thought at least he was turning into a human-sized snake, like width-wise as well as length. But no, he just shrunk down into a normal snake. And it was really boring.
It was really bizarre, and of course the mongoose cage just happened to be open, so...
Well, that was set up, you see, throughout the whole movie, the mongoose was trying to open the cage. That's why it was worth at least 80 minutes of this movie to hear the mongoose going... every fucking scene. So, You know what, Bartek? Retract that statement and put a new one in saying, thank you to the film for setting up the mongoose accurately and sincerely.
The mongoose cage happened to be open, and I thank you for accurate sincerity.
Thank
whatever
you,
Ryan
Bartek.
said.
Well, you almost
Did you make
got
the
it.
film? Why are you thanking me?
Don't tell anyone. It was me. Look, I lost my mind too. Like, the mongoose was attacking him at the end, and he was dying. And my wife said, well, you know, they set up earlier that the mongoose is the animal that could kill a king cobra. And I'm like, yeah. But I thought the fact that this guy had a human mind and was a king cobra was supposed to do something against that.
Yeah, there was a line at the somewhere in the film where it's like the, you know, abilities or body or something of a snake and the mind of a human.
Yeah, but that meant nothing because he had the mind of a snake and the body of a snake. He was too dumb to live as a snake. I guess, well, we know that the scientist isn't infallible because he had a first creature, man, that he experimented on that failed. So maybe, yes, he transformed a man fully into a snake, but maybe he didn't have the mind of a human anymore. Who knows?
Yeah.
The movie won't tell us because it went on a freeze frame that makes Cutting Class run for its money.
That was so funny.
Which one's better freeze frame ending? Cutting Class, Gnome Named Norm, or this?
Those are a lot.
It's the Holy Trinity. It's the Holy Trinity of shitty freeze frame endings.
With cutting class, that was like a grin, right?
Yeah, well, he says, like, I hope you weren't cutting class, and then it freeze frames on him just saying it. It just Mul's dumb face.
I thought it was the girls' reaction.
Oh, maybe it was their reaction being like,
Yeah.
oh boy, but it was still, and then the 80s music kicking in. Don't forget the 80s music.
I think I might have to put something between Snake and probably Gnome, because, you know, these two are just... The Gnome one's the really strong one, though, because it's just such a dumb... And it was a zoom in, too.
Zoom in, and the thumbs up, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still cutting class, baby. This film, it annoyed me. The other two made me laugh. This one fucking annoyed me. I exclaimed, "What? Is that it?" I was so fucking angry.
See, I was looking at it
it.
as a so bad it's a good thing, so when it was a, you know, unsatisfying ending, it just made me laugh.
Well, to give the movie praise, see, I wasn't watching it as so bad it's good. I was legitimately trying to enjoy it because...
I was too.
The film was well made. The performances, for the most part, were really well acted for what this is. It didn't feel like the main scientist guy or the daughter in particular were phoning it in. They really dedicated themselves to this goofy material, making it rise above what it is, which is goofy material. But then, like, the ending happens... And not just that ending where it freeze frames, but the Doctor's ending, where all that, it made me lose any shred of credibility I had for this movie. Any shred of integrity I was giving it was flushed down the fucking toilet, because it went to the point where it's like, oh, the Doctor has to die, and then the mongoose and this, and then we have to freeze frame, and I was just so pissed off. I
agree.
Fucking angry.
I agree, but instead of pissed off, I was laughing.
You see, I wish I could laugh, but I was just like, the Doctor guy was like the only character with any development or interiority or anything in the movie, and then at the end he started making decisions that made no fucking sense.
Yeah, it felt like there was a part of his view that wasn't being communicated, because wasn't he like calling the snake like my queen or something like that?
My king.
My king. It's like he had some sort of communication with it in the past. They had like a mutual understanding.
They did set that up throughout the movie, though. His relationship with it, that he admired this snake, and that's why they would do the shows with this snake. And
yeah, but it always just seemed like kind of fascination kind of thing. It didn't seem like there was any sort of personal connection between the two.
I kind of felt like there was, especially with the comment of 6 years together and he still doesn't like me. Nor should he. And then so on and so forth. But I also think we've got to determine that as the movie goes on, the more we learn about him, the more crazy he is as a man.
Mm-hmm.
But that ending with him where he's just like, and now, I don't know, bite me, I guess? I don't know what his intent was there. What was his plan? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, something was not communicated properly to us. It's like, all right, I finally turned a guy into a snake. Now I'm gonna cower in front of my king and get killed.
I thought he was going to put the two snakes in the same area and make them fight to the death, and thus proving that he was right, that his new snake is the real king because he has the mind of a human and can outdo this snake. But no! That's what I mean. Throughout the movie, I kept thinking of a different movie and different things, and I just had to keep striking those off the list because this wasn't the movie. Like, for instance, I thought the movie was going to be, at one point, he has all of these genetically modified snakes and they break loose and the town has to deal with these snakes, and we see these snakes attack characters that we've met in the town, you know, like Tremors, right? Where Tremors, you have the townspeople, you get to know them, but they're getting hunted down by these animals. Or then the other one being, I thought the guy would turn into a snake man much quicker in the movie and then run around town and kill people. You know, he has like more of an animalistic mind now, so he's going after people that he didn't like and is attacking them, like he would go after the bully guy and attack him as a snake man or something. Something. But the movie is just guy speaking in room, woman speaking in room, and then every now and then the music will go, woo, and there'll be some snake imagery, and then it'll move on. And it really was like tiresome to me. Like, I kept trying to think of a smarter, better movie for this, and then I had to keep reminding myself, oh no, this is a film called Sssss. I can't, like, it's never going to be a smarter, better movie. It's just going to be Sssss. and I shouldn't expect anything more of it. But the film kept presenting to me the ability that there could be more to it, and then it would disappoint me because it wouldn't follow through.
So, on a slight tangent, does this give you high hopes for its spiritual sister Teeth?
No. No.
So it'd be a real shame if Jack Duncan's listening to this and he were to comment, "Do Teeth next."
Well, he has to listen, doesn't he? Don't you, Jack? So I have a lot of complaints, but I did also have some laughs, like you. I did laugh at the famous scene of Steve dying in the shower. It was pretty funny.
Do you know that actor, Reb Brown?
I know the name, but I didn't look him up. He was one I didn't get a chance to look up. What else do you know him from?
So I know a little too much about him, mainly because way back when I was a fan of the internet content creator, the Spoonie one.
Okay.
And you know how some reviewers, they have like their favorite actor and they'll do like a lot of things with that actor in them?
Yeah.
He loved Reb Brown a lot. It's like, you know how Schwarzenegger and Stallone are like the A-list action stars who'll do like the Rambos and the Predator and all that?
Mm.
Reb Brown's kind of like the B or C lister of that. So he did a lot of films like, you're a Red Letter Media fan, so they've talked about a film called You're the Hunter from the Future.
Yeah, and Space Mutiny, and yeah, I'm looking at him now. Yeah.
Strike Commando, things like that. And he's just basically this guy that he's got this really noticeable scream when he, like a war cry that he does. And it kind of happened in this film when he was, getting killed in the shower while singing a beautiful song.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Spoonie's done like a lot of reviews of films and TV shows that he's been in, even like minor ones where like he doesn't really do anything iconic, but it's just like, oh, Reb's in this, so it'll be part of my Rebuary series.
So you must have watched a review of this then.
Weirdly enough, he never did this one, which is weird considering this was his film debut, apparently.
He was once nominated for Best Actor Award here in Australia for some reason, apparently, according to his IMDb.
He was in a film that was filmed in Melbourne called Death of a Soldier at one point.
Well, there you go. So this is the Reb Brown corner, where we learn all about Reb Brown. So you said that one was the scene that made you laugh the most?
Yeah, I got like 30 seconds straight of laughter in that one. When the snake started attacking him, the film kind of went into this slow motion thing. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of that one scene in Lady in the Water where the dog or the whatever it was called, like just breaks through the wall.
The
and
Snarf?
For some reason, was it the Snarf? The Narf?
Or was it the Madam Snarf? I can't remember. It's been too long.
Yeah, I have my notes somewhere, but
there was the
similar...
Narf and the Snarf and the Madam Narf. And
similar to what you said earlier this episode, it's too far behind me.
It was a scrunt.
Might have been a scrunt, yeah. Whatever the dog that was attacking them throughout the film was. It attacks them in like sudden slow-mo for no reason. So there was the slow-mo, there was him singing, there was him freaking out at the snake, and the fact that he dies weirdly quickly.
No, it gives him a heart attack and he dies.
Yeah. Well, we find out later, yeah, it was a heart attack, but at the time it was like, oh, I thought...
No, but that was set up because the main doctor guy told us that at the very beginning because there was a black mamba. That was the snake he showed off. And then later in the movie, before Steve dies, he gets bitten by the black mamba and he goes, oh, don't worry, I have enough, like, anti-venom serum in me to survive 10 black mamba bites. So it was set up that, and that's why his plan would have worked in terms of he had a heart attack and died. And yes, no one would look for a snake bite. But
with the added slow motion, it felt like it might have lasted a bit longer.
But that was them trying to make it seem like really poignant, because this is the first time in the movie somebody's been actively murdered.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make it intense. You have to show it for the brutality, but... He's in the shower. Yeah, well, and we find it funny because it's a man in the shower dying, and that's like kind of silly because it's like so goofy and vulnerable. But I didn't laugh at that scene that much. I laughed more when Steve was alive and he was like stupid and angry, and he was too stupid to live. I also inappropriately laughed at one of the policeman's line, which is the policeman comes in and he's like, oh yeah, so the other professor guy from this movie's plot, his wife phoned in, she hasn't seen him since the morning. Since like last night where he was going off to the main doctor's house.
To meet Dr. Stoner.
Yeah, Dr. Stoner. And one of the policeman guy goes, oh, well, have you checked the girls' dormitories? Because earlier in the movie, that doctor guy was set up to be a pedophile for some reason.
That's right. Yeah, he was perving on one of the girls.
He was physically assaulting her by stroking her. Yeah. So for some reason, he was set up to be a pedophile. So that way we could root for... I guess he's not a pedophile. They're college students, so it's okay. Sorry, I'm thinking of Japan.
Yeah, I was thinking...
But the way that girl acts, that's the one who sleeps with Steve. She acts like she's 12 years old.
Yeah, she's got that voice.
And the hair, and she's like jumping around, and it was very confusing. I'm like, how old are you supposed to be? It reminded me of Shark Exorcist, where there's a woman in that who's like, you don't know if she's supposed to be autistic or 8 years old, but she's definitely a woman.
Didn't you say a similar thing about Reese Witherspoon in Intolerable... No. What was that film? The one that ends with... Fuck You, Sebastian, that one.
Oh, Intolerable Cruelty?
Was it Intolerable Cruelty?
No, it's fuck you threw me off by using the word intolerable cruelty there. It's boy, Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions, yeah.
Thank you, Ryan's brain. You remembered Cruel Intentions, yeah.
I remembered Cruel.
I'm the Marsha fucking Brady. Yeah. So Bartek Snake, what did you think of the movie? What the movie was going to be like? Did you have this feeling like I did, where you're trying to figure out what type of monster movie this is going to be? Because again, we say it's about a guy turning into a snake. The guy doesn't turn into a snake until the end, and he doesn't fucking do anything ever. He doesn't even have a fucking character. He just kind of walks into scenes, going, "Hey Doc, what's wrong with me?" And then the Doc bullshits, and that's all he does in the movie. But what were you thinking? Did you have any kind of thought process like I did? Were you trying to figure it out while you were watching it?
I wasn't necessarily trying to... I guess I was sort of trying to figure out the Doctor's plan, at which, yeah, like you said, when the film ends, we still don't quite know. But there were a lot of moments throughout where I was like, okay, is there some sort of, like, deeper thing going on here? Like, it seems pretty easy to conclude that, like, this guy's just a full bad guy and he doesn't have any sort of, like, noble intention. Maybe there is something going on. And because of the slow pace of the film, you don't quite get a, solid answer until much later in, when the film, yeah, like you said, decides to settle on, on just like, oh, he's a bad guy and dumb decisions are going to be made.
No, he's insane. That's the difference. He's not just a bad guy. He's insane. So the movie can have a free pass for you not understanding anything he does because, well, he's insane. You can't understand insane people.
Yeah, he's insane. He must be a stoner.
That's
his last name.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Congratulations. Thank you. I knew you were going to do that. Another thing that bothered me too is like, this is trying to be like a Frankenstein story as well, but like, Frankenstein and even Herbert West as well, they had like motivations that were understandable underneath the insanity. This guy, I don't know what he wants, but he's just insane, and that's the most, like, one of the most least engaging villain types you can have is just, they're crazy, and nothing else to them. I don't know. I was very angry while watching this movie after the skinny dipping scene, because then I went, oh, this is indulgent, and then I realized, oh, most of this is indulgent. Wait, no, most of this is just padding out for running time. Fuck me, this movie felt so long. Lots of scenes of people
cute snake film.
Well, I mean, can we talk about the deformed snake guy, Tim?
The Snake Man.
How funny it was. I laughed. I don't know if you did. The film was trying to creep me out, but I was laughing too much.
I had a bit of both.
You were creeped out and laughing?
Yeah, a little bit.
And turned on?
A bit of all three.
There you go. It was mainly one of them, and we know which one. I laughed. I thought it was hilarious, and I said, oh, this is what the main guy's going to be for the rest of the movie, right? No.
Yeah, well, that was another thing that was, like, adding to my idea that, like, oh, okay, there's going to be some sort of hybrid thing, and, like, this is a hybrid, but not quite a good one.
Yeah.
Like, maybe give him legs and arms, but, yeah.
No, you were wrong. You were wrong.
Yeah.
And nobody went to save that guy, by the way. They just left him there to be at the carnival.
Well, he's been bought, so he belongs to the carnival.
For $800, that's pretty good. They're still expensive for 1970s money, but for a snake man, sure.
It's 800 Slurpees.
I mean, how long does Snake Man live for? That's the question.
Well, there was that line that said that he'll survive the next 50 years of some bad environmental thing.
Oh, and a Holocaust that we will make, yeah.
Because people be dumb.
I don't know if a snake would survive a Holocaust. I don't know. I don't think if... I mean, you know what I mean? There was that he said that line, like, environmental this, and Holocausts. And I'm like, I don't know if a snake like him would survive that.
You know what?
He's
The word...
physically indestructible.
The word just occurred to me. Holocaust. Yeah, that's... Yeah.
Like, could you imagine him in a little Auschwitz death camp, and he's got like a little hat on, and they're putting him in the chamber, and somehow he survives, and then they just shoot him like they do with the other fucking snake.
I feel really dumb.
Would he survive that?
You kept saying the word Holocaust, and I just kept thinking of like nukes. I'm like, wait a second, that wasn't what the Holocaust was. That was like people being evil.
Well, yeah. So would a snake survive that? No.
Would he
He can't even survive a mongoose.
Would it survive a gas chamber?
He can't survive a mongoose, Bartek. I don't think he can survive a bullet to the head.
Yeah, but a gas chamber, like the gas.
Yes, I think he would die. I don't think he would survive that. I think snakes would die.
Don't they have like a higher poison? I don't know how poisons work.
They're venom. So
Venom.
Not Venom the movie with Tom Hardy, our favourite film.
Stop. We'll get demonetized again.
Yeah. So any other highlight moments of weird things, moments that made you laugh, or things that you feel like we really need to highlight in a film called other than they used real snakes, which again, very impressive.
You know what? That disclaimer was really just a spoiler for the end of the film.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real snake.
Yeah,
and that's it.
With real blood spewing out of it when the mongoose bites it. That was a bit much.
Yeah, and then the girl screaming.
Yeah. Anything else about Snake?
The big thing that just makes me think of is just Reb Brown again at the carnival where he's like hitting on the girl and the guy shows up and he's like, oh, I'm going to shake your hand. And he just like starts pushing him.
I don't like the sound of that.
I don't like the sound. See, he's a smart, dumb guy. He knows when he's being insulted, even if he doesn't know what the insult means.
Yeah, I did like his scene where he decided to drunkenly crawl up the house to sexually assault her, but Harry the Snake gets him, but then he kills Harry the Snake, and then he rides off being like, you guys are freaks!
Yeah, he got to be the indignant one.
You guys and your fucking snakes are freaks.
It's a real social law. Like, you can do a bad thing, but if you can, turn it around, you can come away.
Oh, I had a real good laugh when there was a whole scene dedicated to the police showing up, and then they use a hackneyed contrived way to bring the police in to lift up the python, right? It was like, It was really forced, and the daughter being like, no, it's fine, it's all easy. But as soon as the policeman walked near it, the snake tried to bite him, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, the snakes, they hiss throughout the film, and a lot of times they sound almost like barks.
Yeah, well, that's how snakes work.
Yeah, no, it was fun.
That was a highlight moment when the snake did that, when it was like, and it tried to go at him even though they said it wouldn't, and it kind of defeated the whole entire scene because the whole thing was, she's got a virus and not hungry and won't eat you unless you're afraid, or she's super hungry.
Yeah, and it set up your favorite scene.
Yeah, it set up my favorite scene, and then the snake tried to attack the policeman anyway, thus defeating the whole entire purpose of the scene. But you could only use one take. So that's fine.
When I was looking up the three main actors of the film, the doctor, the student, and the daughter, I found out that the student is someone we've technically seen before on the podcast.
In the A-Team.
Yeah.
He was in the original A-Team, and then he was in the movie A-Team.
Yeah, that's right. He was in the real A-Team, and that means he got a cameo in the A-Team.
Yeah, as one of the mental patients, right? Wasn't that the scene? Where it's like most of them were like the mental patients in that asylum that they broke into. There was a scene like that in the movie, I remember.
Wasn't there a thing of that, like, all of the cameos from the original show got to, like, work alongside their counterparts in some way?
I think so, maybe you're right.
His one was, I think, Bradley Cooper, so maybe they had some scenes.
Was that... I can't remember the A-Team. They didn't have Mr. T in it, though, right?
I think he was the one that they couldn't get.
He was too busy being in a Snickers commercial.
Yeah.
Anything else for Snake?
Let's let's think. Is there anything else for this film that thought
Dr.
so
Stoner
hard?
was like a real actor, like a real respected actor who's in like real movies. So
Yeah,
this is in his later part of his career where that was fading away, I guess, and he was doing things like Snake.
I've the only other film I've seen him in is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah. Oh, he's in quite a bit of things. I think he was in the original. I'm trying to remember. True
He had
Grit.
a big filmography, yeah.
A
from
big
the 50s,
filmography,
50s to the 90s.
A lot of westerns.
Yeah, I think it said that he worked with Paul Newman a lot.
Yeah. And yeah, he was in Butch Cassidy. I think he was in True Grit as well, the original with John Wayne. Yeah, he was the best part of the movie. His performance was key to my enjoyment, and then when his character stopped making sense, it was key to my disdain.
Yeah, it reminded me of Herbert West a lot, just like this central performance of like a clearly unhinged antagonistic guy.
Yeah, it reminded me also of like Bela Lugosi in the Ed Wood movies, where he was taking it super seriously, but the production was shit.
Yeah.
Pull the strings.
Beware the big green dragon on your doorstep. He eats little boys.
That's it, I think. I don't think we have anything else to extract from Snake. Did any of the scenes with the actual snakes irk you or make you unsettled? Do you have what is your relationship with snakes as a creature in general as well?
I might have held one at one point in terms of my actual physical experience, but it was like a school thing. In general, I'm probably the kind of person that if I saw one in the wild, I wouldn't know what to do, but from a distance, they have this kind of cute look to them.
Oh, you think they're cute?
A little bit.
I've seen snakes many a times. I grew up in rural Australia, so snakes were a common occurrence. They're not great. I'm not afraid of them at all. I've had pet lizards and reptiles, so I have no fear of snakes in that manner. But I was impressed. Just like I said, they used real snakes. They chucked the actors with these real snakes in the movie, and they did a bunch of shit. Like, they didn't even defang the snakes. And so there was a real risk here. And again, as much as I didn't enjoy the movie, I commend them on not being pussies. They used real snakes. They threw the real actors in with the snakes, and there was real dangers there. They didn't puss out with puppets or forced photography or any of that. It was real snakes, real people, and that was beneficial. And they didn't puss out in terms of not showing us snakes all the time. They showed us snakes all the time. All the fucking time snakes were in this movie. So it didn't lie to you on that. Yeah. But even that was a pretend snake. So it was still like snakes existed in the movie. This isn't one of those horror movies where it's like, this is a movie about a killer thing, but actually we'll only have them in the movie now and then. This is like snakes all the time, baby.
It's kind of funny how these days the pussing out thing would be to use CGI rather than puppets. For this, it's kind of like the opposite. No, we use real thing rather than puppets.
Yeah, and then, that's where we are at. So, Bartek, would you recommend Snake?
I would. I could see some people, having your experience with it, expecting more and then getting disappointed. But I think that for the most part, the film holds your attention, and then when it doesn't, I got some good laughs out of it. Maybe if you walk in with the right mindset, you might get some laughs too.
The film is well made. It looks good. At least the copy I had was like a really, really clean looking copy for this type of movie. I was expecting a shittier looking version, but
same.
I had a really clean, nice, and the filmmaking again was actually very well done, and they knew how to frame the snakes and make it suspenseful and exciting when they were around. And yeah, there was some goofy 1970s touches like the slow-mo that you laughed at, but overall the filmmaking's good, the acting's fairly decent, but I think the script is just, it gets lazier as it goes along, and like, if it really wanted me to care, it needed to make other characters more characterful. For the time being, they were just there. They were there. The only character that really had any depth was the main doctor guy, but also he didn't, because I didn't understand what he was fucking doing at the end. So there's that. I don't recommend it, but if you are interested in these B-movie monster movies, it's worth checking out for that alone. Do you, Bartek, have your recommendation for next episode already and prepared to tell us all?
I do.
Then tell us what it's about.
So, my recommendation for next episode, similar to when you did Burning, it was a film that you saw in the cinema that you really liked and you wanted to check it out again one day. I've got that too, and I think it's one that we've both seen, a Danish film.
Okay.
One that I think either you or someone else has been like, when are you going to recommend that? And I think now's the time. It is 2012's The Hunt.
With Mads Mikkelsen of
Yes.
Three Musketeers fame.
Yes, the madman himself.
I think he did these films like back to back or like very close to one another.
I saw The Three Musketeers in 2011, so it would have been around the same time, yeah.
Yeah, like a couple years, because when was this film? Like you said, right? Like 20...
I think it was
13?
2012 or 2013. Hold
Yeah,
on,
so he would have been shooting these back to back, which is very funny to think about.
Yeah, 2 different countries.
Yeah, and 2 different tones and performances. So The Hunt, prepare for that one, people. The Hunt from Denmark, not the American Hunt film that came out like a year or 2 ago. That's a completely different movie. This one has Mads Mikkelsen, and it's not a light-hearted affair, let's just say that.
But it's about a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, whoopty, yay! So
Yeah,
that
2012.
in 2012. So yeah, back to back, pretty much. If only James Corden was in The Hunt.
Oh, he was. You forgot?
Oh, he was the other teacher. Oh, he was one of the kids.
No, he was the guy that kept getting birds shit on him.
That's right. So that's it, listening people. You can find us on the social medias of Facebook and Twitter, Spit and Polish Presents. You can email us at spitandpolished@gmail.com, where you can recommend us movies. You can give us questions, queries, concerns. All of that good stuff is in the description of this episode. As always, you can rate us and review us on whatever podcatcher you use to do so. Bartek, how do you want to end this episode?
I want to hear you pronounce Q with 7 letters.
With 7 letters attached to
7
it?
Qs.
So just Q, 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 Q?
You don't just say Q, you have to make the sound.
Oh,
like I
you
did
want me
earlier.
to make an elongated Q sound?
Yes,
Right.
pronounce it.
All right, I'm just going to take a big drink of water so I can get it all moist and ready for you,
Yes, I'll have one too, just to be on your level.
I don't know if I can do it as well as you did, Q. Did you? Okay. Q. I can't do it.
Sound like you
as
said
well.
fuck you, but without the fa.
Well, maybe a subtle commentary of how I feel.
All right, let's quit off.